Tonight's the night, everybody, and welcome here to racing at Woodbine Mohawk Park. Yes, it's Metro Pace night, it's Mohawk Million night, and we are going to have all the stars on display here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. I am absolutely thrilled and excited to be here and happy to be hosting here, but I'm also happy to have the Hall of Fame co-host that I have sitting alongside me, Randy Waples, and we've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks, Randy, and we finally made it, and I'm pumped.
Me too. You know something I was thinking to myself the other night there, John, because you were going to be hosting tonight. This is Mohawk Million's going to be kind of like your race. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these races, you know, the NA Cup and all these bigger races, they've been around since I was a little kid. This one's kind of new. And this is going to be kind of like your generational race. You know what I mean? You're going to be able to see just about every Mohawk Million.
I've watched Venerable win it. I've watched Venerate win it. I've watched Owell win it. I mean, to your point, there's history with some of these other races, and I probably aren't as maybe educated on some of the history for some of these other Marquis Stakes events. But to your point, Million Night,
You've
a
never
race.
missed one.
Yeah, wagering. Million Night is a race that I've been able to kind of see and handicap, and I'm just pumped, right? I mean, I've been a part of some great nights. Getting a chance to host on Million Night is big. I know for Chad, he loves the Metro. For him getting to call his first Metro Pace, I know it's going to be excited. So we're just big fans of the sport. We're excited about what's going to be at stake tonight. And what we're also excited about is the wagering menu here for this evening as well. I know we talked about how some of the wagers have been shifted over some of these races. We're going to kick off things the way we always do with a $75,000 guaranteed early pick 5. There's going to be a $5,000 hit and split. So if you opt in on HPI Bet, you're going to have an opportunity to get a share of that to $5,000. It's divided by how many winners there are, but you must opt in order to be eligible. So don't forget, race 5, that's the last leg of the early pick 5. That's also going to kick off the pick 6, which is a mandatory payout. I know we tried that on North America Cup night. I thought it was a really good result there. We got a good pool, so it's all going to get paid out here this evening. That starts in race number 5. Race 6, though, we've got a guaranteed all stakes pick 5. The guarantee at $100,000, Randy. I'm looking forward to that. And we've also got a third pick 5 there that kicks off in race number 9. But one of our golden gooses this evening is going to be the mandatory payout here in the jackpot high 5, $218,000 plus there. That's going to be funneled in. Carrying over, and I'm looking forward to the pool there. And look, this is a great field that we have in the finale as well for this mandatory payout. Sometimes we have horses who are clear standouts. I mean, we've got a horse maybe dropping in class that everybody can play around. I tell you what, I struggled with who am I going to use underneath tonight. It's wide open.
It's a very wide open race, and what makes it even more wide open is this is one of the few times that both trailers are very, very, in my opinion, must uses.
Classy rivals, Jack Panic and Fortify, two of which who figure in that class, but they've got to overcome some of that tricky starting position. So curious to see how that race is going to shape up, but we've got a great way to close the night out. So let's get right into the action, Randy. We're going to kick things off here in race number 1. This kicks off the early pick 5, and what a way to kick things off, though. This is such a wide open race, but the betting public early on, they view Calico Jack Hanover as a main player. He should have an advantage here from a class standpoint. I can't say I loved his most recent effort. I think he can bounce back here in a big way, but I'm going to opt to play against him here. What say you?
Same.
Okay.
Same. And he's getting a shoe and change tonight, John. Luke Blais sending in, he's going to go from steel to aluminum up front, make him a little quicker, a more faster kind of a shoe. Used to be when you'd see that kind of a shoeing change, it was an automatic run to the windows, but I think it's going to make a difference, but is it going to make enough of a difference that he gets it down in here? I'm kind of with you. I don't see it just yet. Got him in for second, so obviously I think he's going to be good, but I'm going to go Arbitrage Hanover on this one. I've been playing him a couple of times in the last one. He's going to be my beat the favorite play tonight there. Really, really pacing very, very good on the end of it. I think he's got a little bit better of a post position to work with in here tonight. Nicer class to deal with than 2 starts back. So Arbitrage is the way I'm going to go with backing him up onto Calico. What about you?
I went to It's Major. I was used a couple of times to make front there in that effort, and ultimately Rochester Flash cleared, but I still thought he had some go at the end of it. But my biggest thing is I'm going to try and pitch Calico Jack Hanover. I know his class can prevail here in this spot, but I'm going to opt to play against him because I think the rest of the sequence could play out pretty chalky. So a wide open race here as we kick things off in the early pick 5, and we're going to move on to race number 2. And nice that they were able to card a 2-year-old open here, Randy, for some rookie trotters. I think this is a really, really nice group. But I'll tell you what, the morning line favorite, Kingman, I thought he was really good last time out, finishing a runner-up to Stroblight, who's going to be participating in that Mohawk Million. I think that effort kind of warranted them looking for a spot in that 53 and change mile. But Doug McNair opting to go to the Perringblom trainee, who he drove last time out over, his provincial horse, Touched by an Angel, who I thought raced really, really well. Did you follow Doug on where you went as well?
Yeah. I went. I just don't think Doug's going to make that play going against a fellow's horse that's been racing really, really good in the provincial program. I don't think he makes that play unless he thinks that this guy is really, really special. So I'm going to go with Doug on that one.
A good draw to work with.
It is you.
We've seen. I went Kingman as well. I think everybody else did as well. It's a sweep of handicappers there.
Anybody in this race you think is going to come up with a big effort?
You know what? I'm really intrigued with Captain Code again. I thought he raced really well. I know he got picked off late in the mile, but that was a great steer by Scott Young. He went 54-3 in that start, so I think he's going to be sharp. I just don't know if he's going to have maybe a tactical edge over a horse like Kingman. I really do think that this is a horse that maybe Doug's going to want to say, I'm going to take matters in my own hands and try and take this field from gate to wire. What say you?
I think that I use Captain Code in for third, so I can see where you're going with that. But I think that Storybook Love could come up with a really, really big effort from the rail for Chris Christoforou and Matt Bax.
All right, that wraps up our thoughts in race number 2. We're going to move on to race number 3, and how about kicking off this pick 4 sequence here with the fillies and mares free for all. But heavy support's going to be on the 7-horse Randy. Sylvia Hanover and a nice runner-up there to Twinbee Joe Fresh. Nobody was going to come close to beating that powerhouse mare on that evening. But Sylvia Hanover, we've already seen her get the job done on multiple occasions, and I think she's going to be awfully tough to beat in this spot.
Completely agree. Yeah. I think it's her, and then there's everybody else, and she's facing some of our best, Kobe's Gigi, but none of these should be able to go with the big girls. So let's take a look at Sylvia's last race. This is the Milton final. Tetrick driving as well. Going to be driving again here tonight. And like you said, John, we knew at this point right here, Sylvia's on the outside tracking Twinbee Joe Fresh. But Twinbee Joe Fresh, she had the monkey on her face that night there. She wouldn't have let Secretariat go by this night. I mean, just look at the powerhouse, but look at Sylvia. The separation for the rest. This is like now become a 1-horse race that's really now become a 2-horse race for second. That's really not a race for second.
Yeah, she had every reason to pack it in as well. I mean, she was still chasing some wicked speed. You could still tell, despite her having to go first over and maybe take her shot and try and gain on a dominant Twinbee Joe Fresh, she still put forth a really, really good effort. I believe she's going to be prepping for a race at Dayton next Saturday as well, so this is a really good opportunity for her to get another confidence-boosting score as we see those two Goliaths hook up yet again.
Did you use any of the strangers? Because I actually, I got Kobe's Gigi in for third, but didn't use Bath Bomb or as Sweet Beach here. Did you use any of those?
No, I just used Colby's Gigi underneath, and I like the way Talk Curdy to me has raced over her last couple of tries. One that I think can hit the ticket underneath, but I'd have to say this race goes through Sylvia Hanover, and I think we're going to see that in the wagering as well. We're going to move on to race number 4, and again, this normally kicks off the pick 6 sequence. Again, a reminder, that is going to kick off in race number 5. So race number 4 here is going to be leg 4 of that early pick 5, and this is a really, really stellar field of trotters, Randy. We've got a free-for-all trot here, a purse of $75,000. We've got Logan Park back in to go here. Last time we got to see him in a pari-mutuel start. He was racing in that Maple Leaf trot elimination. We've got Antonioni. Things didn't work out there in that trot event at Yonkers, but he's coming into this race sharp. We've also got Osceola here, who's coming off back-to-back victories, and he's going to pick up Dexter Dunn as Doug opts to go to Logan Park. I'm curious to know which direction you went to in this spot.
Well, I threw Osceola in for second,
okay,
so I guess you can pretty well guess who I went there. Logan Park, I'm not 100% sure if he has been right on his game. This whole year. A couple of times he's looked brilliant. Other times he just kind of, So let's take a look at this qualifier, though, because I thought that this qualifier was a lot more Logan Parkish than what I've seen, say, in his last couple. And this is actually the decider on which way I was going to go, Logan Park or Osceola. Osceola's form is fantastic. He picks up the double D. But Dougie knows Logan Park really, really well. and Dougie decides he's going to stick with Logan Park. So Logan Park's the way that I'm going to go, my friend.
Yeah, and hard to go against Logan Park here in this spot, especially off that qualifying prep. I thought that was a really, really good effort as he gears up for what's going to be a wide open race. I'm going to give Antonioni a shot. Hope for a bounce back here. I think he's raced super all season long. Back on the big track here where he's put forth good efforts. It doesn't matter which size track he races. I think this is a pretty versatile trotter, one that's got a lot of talent, but I think this is a really deep group. I mean, how about John Impression? Scott Ziron's going to pick up the drive here. Louis going to choose Private Access here in this spot, opting for booking off a couple of rivals. We've got a lot of talent in this trot race.
Yeah, we do. I mean, were you shocked that Louis went that way?
You know what? I just feel like a Private Access probably a little bit more handier here in this spot, but
I think Private Access is the deeper of the two.
Yeah.
But my thing is though is that he hasn't raced since the end of August too. Where the other mare, she's pretty deep herself, and she's had a couple of starts this month already.
She's racing well. This is going to be a tough test for her as well, but we know that she can put forth a pretty good effort. We're going to move on to race number 5, and as we mentioned, this kicks off that pick 6 sequence. This is also the last leg of that early pick 5, and we've got a $75,000 free-for-all. I think Irvin Hanover is going to get a lot of looks, Randy. Was able to get it in the Jim Ewart Memorial there at Scioto Downs. Was able to just get up over Captain Albano, and what was a good effort. Last time we saw him here locally, he just got picked off in that Canadian Pacing Derby final. But you talked about 2 seasons. It seems like this aged pacer is kind of trending as the best one in the division potentially right now.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, he's on perfect form because just before this part of the season, Mineri had given him a little bit of a break, and he just started back. So I mean, he's a very fresh horse. But the 5 horse is the way that I'm going to go, my friend. Remember the Alamo. I think that he's got a really, really good shot at taking this field down. 10-1 morning line. I don't believe I'm going to get no 10-1 on him, but I'd love it if I did. James McDonald driving this guy last week and coming right back to this guy again. I think that this horse is going to fit into Ben Bergeron's barn so well, and he already has. I mean, we could really be looking at something. He's only 4 years old, and God only knows what he can do. And this way, just seems to me like he's just getting even more braver and confident in Ben's barn.
Yeah, he's racing super, and obviously Ben spoke about that they want to get this guy geared up for the Breeders' Crown. Look, you're going to be facing some of these rivals here in this spot in the Breeders' Crown. This is a good chance to take a shot, try and work out a pretty good trip, and figure out what you really have, because as the season progresses, it's going to get tougher. The only benefit I'll say that he has is that he's not jostling with some of the big boys in some of these stakes events every week or so. So I think he could come into the Breeders' Crown if he's able to develop some more confidence. He could come in razor sharp, Randy, because we even saw the race last night, the Hoosier Pacing Derby. Maximus Mickey right now, again, he's a horse who's cracking sharp right now. But look at those tough miles. I mean, those are some tough efforts that those aged pacers are going. By the end of the year, it could come down to who's the freshest racehorse. And if he's ready to take on that challenge and tackle those types, he could be a bit of a sleeper in the division.
I'm kind of thinking that with Remember the Alamo, we're kind of looking at more or less the same thing as Irvin Hanover. Yep. I mean, his last race down at the Meadowlands, July 19th, and then he misses a month before he races up here, So a little bit of a freshening up kind of a process, and boy, oh boy, he has just globbed on to that Bergeron barn, and he just improves every time that they race him.
Yeah, I don't want to discount Oakwood Arden. He's got an outside draw to work with, one that I think has been racing really, really well. I'm going to give him a whirl on top here, but I think Irvin Hanover is going to be tough, and your top selection going to provide quite a bit of value in that pick 5 sequence. We're going to move on to race number 6, and this kicks off 5 consecutive stakes events here, some grade 1s, and we're going to start off here with the Elegant Image final here, and I think we can all agree that this race goes through the filly from the 9-hole, Art Duchess. She never got daylight last time out in that Elegant Image prep race, but she's a filly who's razor sharp right now, and I just love watching her progression, Randy, from 2 to 3. This is a filly who has become really handy, and she's also picked up her speed as well.
Yeah, okay, so John, we're going to show the replay of Our Duchess's last race, and this is also going to show, Global Heritage. You're going to see her in there, and Lasting Dream in there, Stormont Beautiful, who ends up winning this race. But this is a great effort here, by Our Duchess, the six horse in here. Jody in the 2-hole right now, Lasting Dream up front, and Jody obviously waiting for either Lasting dream to go forward or maybe move off the fence. But guess what? It's not going to happen. At this point, it kind of looks like, maybe James is going to get the job done with the 5-horse. But look at Stormont Beautiful. Those big movement on the length. Jody finally splits. Does he have horse? Absolutely. And on the run out, you're really going to see it because she's a winner. On the run out. So Tetrick back to drive her again. She's got multiple ways to race, John. She can race in front. She can race out of the hole. I just think that it's going to go through her. How about you?
Yeah, she's been ultra tough, right? Look at her last 3 victories. I know she was able to get the job done by a neck in that casual breeze here over Zed Athena, who was a supplement here in this race. But how do you knock her efforts? She's been had a little bit of a lull, probably at a poor time. You could tell John Boutonchain's frustration there, saying that she just came up with wasn't feeling her best in that Hambo Oaks elimination, but she's come out of that effort and rattled off a few different wins. She's going to be sharp off that effort though, Randy, right? Locked in Journey last time out, never saw daylight. That was the trip Timmy gave her a couple starts ago. He was able to find a seam last time out. It didn't work out, so you have to figure this filly's going to be even braver coming into this race. But any sleepers that you see here in this final, I know everybody's going to look at this filly, but this is still a pretty good group.
I used Highland Starburst in for third, so I wouldn't exactly call that a sleeper, but I'll tell you one that I really like, and this is going to be third start Lasix for her, is Roxy Hart.
Okay.
If they duke it out a little bit, the wheels that she has on the end of it, much like Stormont Beautiful, and it got her to the winner's circle.
Tough draw for Lasting Dream from the 10, but I tell you what, Stormont Beautiful, if there was ever a filly to draw the trailer, I think this works out perfectly for her. We know that she likes one move on the end of it. That was a really good showing by this filly, and best of luck here because, she's a OSS horse who's really raced really well when she's on her game, and this is a big opportunity for Kevin Ben and company as well, and Tyler Borth included. We're going to move on to race number 7 here for the She's a Great Lady final, grade 1 event here for 2-year-old pacing fillies, and Burke's had a phenomenal last couple of weeks, 10 days or so, Randy, and he's got a great shot to add to this, to add to his trophy case here, because his homebred filly, Lua Deepa, a full sister to Looks Good and Lulu, tell you what, she looks like she's got some gears, and I think she showed it last time out in the elimination as well.
Okay, well, I'm saying, and I've been saying it all week, John, I think Lua Deep is too deep for this field.
Big time.
And we're going to see the replay from her. Producer Chris Platts is going to show us the Lua Deepa, and maybe Chris Platts can also watch this replay, tell me if he thinks that she might be too deep for the rest of the field too. So here she comes around the top turn, and I'm telling you, want to talk about body language on a driver and a horse. She just, to me, just looks like he's ready to, like an elastic band that he's just about ready to let it uncork. Look at her. The head straight up in the air. Look at the tight line. Look at the body language on James. Scott, his horse racing very good. Perfect thought in here. She ends up with the plugs in on the end of it. But the only reason he's getting closer is because James is bringing him into it. James has really shut her right down. But there's another filly that's been racing awful good this whole summer, John, that I've been in love with right from the time that she come out, and her name is Sangria Summer. Had her on top in her last start. Unfortunately, she is going to draw the 10-hole. But let's take a look at her in her last start, and I think everybody understands why it is about her that she really stokes me up. From the time that she's come out here, John, she's done nothing but impress me. And this night, she ended up going off at odds of 32-1. And this is not the performance of a 32-1 shot.
No, she wins if she gets through, undoubtedly so. I was surprised that Dale was able to hang on in this effort. She looked a little bit too keyed up prior to the race, and looked like Jody wanted to, tuck her into a hole, but I think she had other plans. But look at Sangria Summer. Look at the body language. Trevor's just got no real estate whatsoever. It's unfortunate, though, because 2 fillies that you highlighted in both of those replays, were Sangria Summer and Perfect Thought. 2 fillies who raced super in their eliminations. And where did they draw? The 9 and 10 hole. It's unfortunate, but, for Perfect Thought, though, she's a handy filly. She can get out of there from the outside. I don't know about Sangria Summer, what kind of trip she's going to be able to work out. I wish she drew a little further inside. I see her the lone one backing her to at least hit the ticket in this spot. She's got the speed. I think she can work out the trip to do exactly that. Again, I just think the post is going to be really tough, but we know Lua Deepa is going to be awfully tough in here as well. The steering, it looked like there was a bit of trouble steering her in that Pennsylvania Sire Stakes final, Randy. She looked a lot better in her elimination victory as well, but I think I'm a Lulu. A bunch of us, maybe a few of us didn't factor her in highly. I think that's
used
a
her
filly.
on top last week.
Yeah, that's a filly I think that has been racing really well. She's a bit of a sleeper, I'd say.
I agree. Now, going back to Sangria Summer, I know that it's got to be frustrating for Kevin Ben and Trevor and everybody, because I think we all know just, where this is going with her. She's getting stronger and stronger each time they race her. I race her for a check.
Yeah.
I really do,
Okay.
because I don't want to spoil what it is that I've basically accomplished, because I really do think, with the Breeders' Crown being here, John, you know what I mean? I mean, this is a big test for her, but I don't think that if she keeps progressing the way that she is, I think that she could be a player in the Breeders' Crown and not have to travel to do it.
A few times in a maiden that she was competing, she gets the job done in her third try, and then afterwards stakes events, Eternal Damnation, a Champlain, and then the She's a Great Lady elimination, where, like we showed there, she would have been a winner. We're going to move on to race number 8 here, and this is, Chad Rosenmus talked about it many times. This is his favorite race every year, and I tell you one thing, we've got a superstar matchup between two undefeated colts here, Randy. It's going to be Bojangles and Frantic Hanover. Bojangles really caught a lot of eyes, and turned a lot of heads early on here locally. I mean, we got a chance to see him, but I think everybody in North America has said this guy's pretty damn impressive, and he's shown exactly that. Frantic Hanover, his biggest test to date, he's also looked very, very impressive as well. So both of them 7 for 7 so far this year. We're going to take a look at the Stock Moore trainee here, and we're going to get a chance to see Bojangles in his elimination victory. And Randy, what did you see from him for the 7th week in a row?
Well, for the players out there that weren't watching last week there, Doc Moore, after you won his last victory before this race, told you the horse was going to get a week off, no harness, no nothing. So Randy, being the genius that he was, decided to play against him. And the horse that I played against him, I think, is the horse at the back there right now. And Bojangles goes out and goes probably the best race that he's gone all year. Mile and 49, last quarter and 26 and change. I've never seen the horse look any better than he does now. The way he's striding out, the weight, he's keeping his weight. Everything about him is pointing, to a big effort in here tonight. But let's take a look at the 2-horse, because this is no slouch either.
Yeah, and I think to your point about Bojangles, though, I would say that Doc really wanted to see a tick faster, right? He wanted to see, can he go a little bit faster? Because I think he knows, and everybody else knows, if you want to win this lucrative final, you've got to be able to kind of go a bit quicker here in the spot, especially when we're going to get a chance to see this son of Stay Hungry, because when Timmy asked him to go faster, he certainly did, and let's look at his elimination victory.
Unreal. This is going to be a heck of a throwdown with these two. Both of them are big, strong, kind of colts. Both of them can race versatile styles. Both of them can do it up front. Both of them have leaving ability. This is going to be a really, really interesting race. But Frantic Hanover, the only thing frantic about him was how quick he was going to get to the winner's circle. He ends up doing it in, 49 and 4, John. Bojangles 49 and 3. I mean, can these two just keep duplicating each other all the rest of this year? Because it just seems like it's monkey see, monkey do. One does one does the other, and we come to it just still scratching my head about, what to do there.
Yeah, it's you could see when
Look at the genius
when
on the
Timmy
screen.
said take off a little bit, or asked him on that final turn, he absolutely took off there. And I know you and I are excited about the matchup, as is everybody else. Chad's also pretty pumped up about this matchup as well. And Chad, we'd love to hear your thoughts about these two
You'd
superstars
like to hear it. I could care
going
less.
toe-to-toe here in this marquee event for rookie pacers.
As you guys talk about it, and I've mentioned many times, as you know, the Metro Pace is my favorite race on the calendar. I just love seeing these stars of tomorrow, and somebody's going to come out of this race as a new superstar. And, we've got the star power, and we're going to win regardless anyway, because we've got the storylines going in. We're going to have storylines coming out, guys, because if either the undefeated horses win, we get that, or you're going to have a monumental upset by somebody else in here. And we've had our fair share of horses come into the Metro Final undefeated, win, and leave undefeated, including one that you know quite well, Randy. 10 years ago, it was you in Control the Moment, exiting this race undefeated. You remember that night, don't you?
Yes.
It was a pretty good night for you.
Yes. Vaguely, I think I do remember something about that night. But I think that what we really need to know, Chad, is what's your favorite race of the year?
Yeah. Do you wonder what it is? Yeah. But listen, I've got an interesting tidbit as I was kind of going through some of the history of this race. And Doc Moore, interestingly enough, the last time that we've seen undefeated horses meet up in the final of the Metro was 2009. And actually, we had 3 of them. Sports Rider, Malicious, who Doc Moore trained, ended up finishing 4th. Sports Rider won the race, but Woodstock was 5th in that race. He, too, was undefeated. So just kind of a interesting little tidbit. I'm rooting for the local here in Bojangles like you guys are.
It's one of the most difficult races as a driver on the circuit to win, the Metro. I only got it done once, but I can tell you, I would have got it done a second time. I was going into the final with a horse of Doc Moore's that I won my elimination, and they couldn't have beat me no matter what. If I'd have given them a 15-length head start, and he comes into the final scratch sick.
Brutal.
Arthur Blue Chip.
I was going to say, was that
Arthur Blue Chip. They never would have touched him. I mean, he was just so good. But, you know, that's kind of the beauty of this race, though. There's just so many intangibles about it, you know?
All right. Thanks for chiming in, Chad, and we appreciate hearing your thoughts, and we'll hear from you momentarily as well. But, you know, obviously, like we said about the Metro, this is going to be a nice battle between two superstars. Randy, Super Champ Hanover, I thought raced pretty well, so I'm curious to see if he could benefit from a potential, you know, speed duel between these two star colts. But we're going to move on to race number 9, and this is the Canadian Trotting Classic, another grade 1 event here for a sophomore trotting colts. And I think this matchup is going to be what we saw, you know, a couple weeks ago in that Simcoe division between Emoticon Legacy and Maryland. Maryland wasn't really able to be given a fair shot at the head of the lane because he did jump it off on that final turn. I'll tell you one thing though, nobody was going to get to this son of Wallner and this Luke Blade trainee because Emoticon Legacy was good to go that evening, and he's going to be tough in here again.
I'm going to go Emoticon Legacy. I kind of find it difficult in here to see how they're going to beat him. I can see Maryland beating him if he lands on his back and, you know, outsprints him. But the way that he won the Simcoe, I mean, he was just like in a league of his own that night. And then he comes back with a nice, easy, soft qualifier in against Logan Park. So I think he's going to come into this race ultra sharp.
Yeah, and you could see Louis speaking with me after the race as well. I mean, he went in 50-3 that night. He said I could have gone sub 50. You know, and obviously it would have been nice to add a mark like that to him, but he understands that it's there's still some races left to go, including this one. You've got the Breeders' Crown, among other things as well. So Louis just sitting motionless there as Emoticon Legacy takes off. And this guy was bred to be a superstar. And so far, he's lived up to the hype, and he's had a really nice rookie campaign. He's had a really nice sophomore campaign. And I just remember, again, we speak about progression. This guy was a little bit headstrong. You know, obviously would get keyed up at times, and he's certainly relaxed now, Randy. And he seems like you can do anything you want with him as well. And I think it bodes well for a guy like Louis.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, for sure. And I mean, there's no trainer out there that can bring a horse into a stake final any better than Luke Blade.
All right, this is a trotting event that we're looking forward to as well, a grade 1. But I think the one that we're looking forward to the most is going to come up in race number 10, which closes out that all stakes pick 5. And how about this, Randy? The 6th edition, the $1 million Mohawk Million, and without a doubt, the best field ever assembled here for this big-time stakes event, and I'm just looking forward to it. You could go many different directions here in this race, and we're going to get a chance to look at every single contender here in this field, and we're going to start from post number 1. We're going to look at Apex here, and you want to speak about horses that are royally bred. How about this one out of the great, the champion Mission Brief, Randy, and she's produced some, you know, quality foals that have shown talent but haven't able to maybe piece it together consistently. To me, this guy looks like the best out of all the ones that have come out of Mission Brief.
Well, I mean, and the other thing too is $730,000 yearling, and he's almost got it paid off in his 2-year-old year. I mean, how impressive is just that, you know? You know, obviously, you know, she was an amazing mare, Mission Brief, and you know, not really. You know, it's really not hard to fathom that she could, you know, produce something like this, you know. So Apex going to be my top pick in here. But John, I mean, I've been around a long time, and I've never seen a field like this assembled.
It's great.
It's honestly like somebody went out there and said, give me the 10 best trotting colts in North America, and this is what we ended up with. This is amazing field.
We've got the bulk of them here racing locally, and we're going to hear some thoughts there from Marcus Melander as Paul Salvaggio, Woodbine's own, was able to catch up with trainer Marcus Melander and just give his thoughts leading up to this $1 million event.
Yeah, no, he came out of it very good. It's obviously going to be his 4th week in a row here he's going to race, so that was the only question mark if we were going to enter him or not. But he came out of it good, and he seemed fine. He shipped up here to Canada Wednesday, so he was up there on Wednesday night. So I have a couple of days here to rest. It's a very tough race. You know, you got all the Star Stakes winner down. You know, Pennsylvania Star Stakes winner, New York Star Stakes winner, Kentucky Star Stakes winner, and then obviously he was the New Jersey Star Stakes winner. So I mean, you have a tough field here. So I'm very happy we drove good. he showed that he got a lot of potential already, of course. But that several horses have that in the race, so he's one of them that can win definitely. So I'm happy we draw the race. The ideal trip is come to the lead and go 59 to the half maybe, but no. But I mean, if he can get a trip, second over with some good speed in the race, that's probably ideal, But he, like I said, he's been racing off the pace on the front, and he can do whatever Dexter asks him to do.
All right, there's some thoughts there from Marcus Melander. As always, he's just always one of those guys who's willing to share any bit of information and speak about his pupils. But look, Apex is, like you said, he's had a stellar campaign. Marcus Melander, he's no stranger to success in this race, winning it last year with Maryland, winning it a few years ago with OL as well. So this is a son of Walner that he's going to be bringing into this race, who's cracking sharp, and we're going to get a chance to see his New Jersey Sire Stakes victory, Randy, on Hambo Day. This was a big effort, and at the time, Diabolic Hill, he was the colt to beat here. He was coming to that event razor sharp. But this son of Walner, he had other plans here tonight, and you could see how game he was in victory.
Yeah, and we're going to see the 6 horse. That's our Don, right? So we're going to see a couple of these guys face off here tonight, but this guy just keeps coming and coming, and that's even with a sneaky little Scotty Z's pylon slide on the end of it to try and get the job done. Apex the way that I'm going to go here, but this 6 horse, John, as well. I mean, we just seen him in Ardon with Scotty Zeron coming up the inside. We've seen Scotty up here. He win with Ardon and the Wellwood, looked amazing in 52. But endurance, I've watched a couple of his wins in Lexington, but the last one really impressed me. I mean, really coming up here, I think sharp as can be.
Yeah, and we'll get to endurance in a few moments, but one quick tidbit about Apex as well. What Marcus, we didn't hear from that Marcus clip is, he says that Walners have a tendency to get a little bit hot. And, Dexter's done a phenomenal job bringing this guy along. You could see he was never leaving hard with him, was working out some pretty good trips, built some confidence with him. And, in a race like this, you're going to have to maybe push out of there and take your shot, I would have to say, right? Or at least be situated in a pretty close spot, because this is a good group. But I think Dexter's done a phenomenal job, like I said, bringing him along, and I think it's indicative of the performances that he's put forth as well. So we're going to see how he fares. Again, 4th week in a row for Marcus Melander. We often hear about trainers not working about managing, their young stock as well, especially when they've got superstar potential. But we're going to move on to the 2 horse, Silverstein, and I view him as a bit of a sleeper, Randy, here in this spot. Just 1 win and 8 tries, 7 on the board finishes. But I think this is Matthew Burkholder's first time competing here on Canadian soil. He brings forth a pretty good son of Chapter 7.
Yeah, and picks up Dave Miller.
Yep.
He's been driving him all along. So, I mean, he's going to come back up here to Canada. I mean, really, he's kind of flew under the radar, John, right? The 5 seconds stand out. 8 starts, 7 times on the board. He hasn't done anything wrong.
And one that I think is going to be a bit of a sleeper, because he's been chasing the likes of Endurance, each and every week. So I think this is one that's going to fly under the radar. Dave Miller obviously winning this race a couple of times. He's going to be looking for his 3rd Mohawk Million victory. We're going to move on to the 3 horse here, Ardon, and this is a William Wellwood Memorial winner. This is one that we're familiar with, and Megan Scran, trainee here, who's done some really good things, and Scott Ziron has done phenomenal bringing this guy along. And he had some quirks during the breaking process, and yet to learn to mature and be a racehorse. I think the job that Scott Ziron's done with this guy is why he's been so good, as well as Megan Scran as well. I think collectively they've worked together in terms of developing and bringing this rookie along. And I think we're going to hear Scott Ziron's thoughts as well, in regards to that as well.
Cool. Always good to hear from Chuck.
Well, he trained down great. So we always believe that talent would be there. Obviously, every start you have, you're hoping for just that little more, or you're hoping to at least not be fatigued going across the line, and he's yet to been. So for him, it was more mental progression. He wants to do it all at once, and he wants to do it on his own terms, and that's fine. I just had to teach him that it has to be on my terms, not his terms. So I think the ability's there, and so far we've coached him up quite nice to head into this race. Yeah, it's been like the first few starts, the last place I wanted to be was on front, so I made sure I managed to not be there. I taught him to follow the helmet and to come off of it strongly. And aside from his last couple, really, the last race we put him on front, and he had won the big race in Canada, and then the following week was at qualifiers. I put him on front, so really he's only ever had 2 experiences there. He loves it up there, but the problem is I didn't want him to start his career out right away there.
All right, there's Scott Zeron's thoughts there on Ardon, and yeah, he certainly loves it up front, and we got a chance to see that here in that William Wellwood Memorial, final, because Scott had to move him up the backside to make front, and I think that was the right move, and it ended up being the winning move. Given the way the race shaped out, he had to do it, and I thought that his quote responded nicely.
Yeah, every once in a while, even if you don't think it's the right trip, you kind of got to do with the way that the cards are dealt to you. And I just think he adjusted well. Maybe not the way exactly that he wanted to race him, but the horse come up with a big effort, and hopefully he comes up with another big one tonight. Because to tell you the truth, I'd like to see the owner of this guy back in the winner's circle. I don't know if you interviewed him that night. I loved that interview with him. It just seemed to me like he was an owner that was just completely amazed at where he was at that moment, and now can you imagine if he has to come back and be in $1 million winner circle?
Yep.
Well done, Scotty Z, and best of luck, Phil Steinberg.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to watching this guy compete. And again, I love hearing guys about how they want to bring horses along as well. When he qualified, they really liked the way he was gearing up for his career debut. And I remember being in the Meadowlands paddock, and Scott Zeron said to me, I really like this guy. Mm-hmm. This guy's got a heap of talent. He's shown exactly that so far early on. So, it's nice to see the William Wellwood Memorial winner in this race. I know they don't get an automatic bye like they did in years prior, but back-to-back years, we got a chance to see Maryland competing, and he got the job done. And now Ardon looking to do the same here. We're going to move on to race number 4 and horse number 4 here in this spot, and that's Shimmering Hanover. And, this is a filly, Randy, who's coming into this race off a victory, a maiden-breaking score for this Luke Blais trainee, and this is going to be a tough task for this filly, but maybe that victory can kind of instill a little bit of confidence going to this event.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough ask, no doubt about that. But like I said, she comes out of a good barn, very another expensive yearling purchase by Determination, and she's right from the time that they've started her, she's always had the ability. Now she finally comes up with a nice win. There was a shoeing change involved there too. So again, like you said, maybe this is the start of a progression here, but I don't know, 2-year-old filly, I would have to see maybe a little bit more out of her at this point to take on some of these killer colts.
And Luke Blais obviously finishing second in this event last year with Lasting Dream, who put forth a pretty good showing.
Second one year with Donna Soprano, a filly.
So fillies have had a good showing here in this $1 million race. So we're going to move on to the 5-horse here, Cambridge Hanover. And this race is so interesting, Randy, because we've got some yearlings that were fairly cheap in comparison to some others. Going to get Cambridge Hanover, was a half-brother to Maryland, who was a winner of this event a year ago. Still looking for his first victory. Boy, wouldn't this come at a pretty good time.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would really, really help, you'd like to say to yourself, well, it's going to get him halfway paid off, but it's not. Mm-hmm. A $1.4 million baby. Going for $1 million tonight, but it still would be a nice one, to get done. Beautiful looking animal, put together and the whole deal. And something, John, there's been a couple of times in that Wellwood there where we said like he was really starting to show that he was getting a little bit better. Didn't do a whole lot in the Wellwood final, finished 6th in there. Shipped back down to New Jersey, raced a few weeks later in the Meadowlands Kindergarten, finished 3rd, comes back up to Canada. But like I said, I don't think he's far off.
No. Sooner or later, I think he's going to start figuring it out, and it's been just a process for Andrew Harris and company, and I think he's been getting better, and I think he's going to continue to get better with more and more starts. We're going to move on to race to the 6-horse Endurance, and you spoke about how excited you are to see him here, as am I, Randy, because this guy was a $14,000 yearling purchase US, and this guy has one loss so far, and that was a locked-in effort in his career debut over at Oak Grove. To me, it looks like we haven't even seen the bottom of this guy. He looks so handy, and I'm really, really excited about watching this guy compete here, and I think he's the one to beat tonight.
I'm not going to say he's the one to beat because I really like this Apex, but I'm going to certainly say that, he's going to be involved, and if he ends up being in the winner's circle, wouldn't shock me in the least because, this, It's a different track, Lexington to here, but my goodness, the way that he's been finishing his miles off, he is so deep. And Andy McCarthy sticking. That's got to be a big choice for him to give up the 9-horse, who we're going to be talking about in a bit.
And we're going to hear some thoughts here from trainer Chris Beaver as he sends out his star people here this evening.
Well, he seems to be the best horse I've ever had. He trained down great. I really thought he was something special, in the spring. And you never know. Sometimes they disappoint you, but he hasn't. The only time he got beat, he got locked in the first start. The rest of the time, he's been in hand every start really. It was a little closer than I would like, being 6 days before the race up at Mohawk. But I had prepared for that for quite a while. This had been on our radar for some time, and I'd only raced him about every 3 weeks for the last couple months. So he didn't have a lot of starts, but and he won the race with the plugs in. He was very easy winner. So I don't feel terrible about coming back in 6 days. And then after this, he'll probably have another month before he races again. Well, I've changed the shoeing a little bit, going from the Red Mile to Mohawk. I've added a little more bore into his shoes. Other than that, we didn't have to do a lot to prepare. I mean, he's tight. I'm not training this week. The funny thing is, the great horses are easy to train, and he's been a very easy horse to train. I would say he's very athletic. Maybe he's maybe not the most coordinated horse I've ever trained, but he's close. He's right up there, and he really does everything you would want him to do. His manners are probably his most extraordinary attribute, because Andrew says I can race him any way I want to. He can race him in the middle. He can take him back. He can go to the front. He does whatever the driver asks him to do, and only what he's asked to do. So where he's won by a few lengths, I think Andrew's indicated he could win by a lot more if he needed to.
How about that, Randy? The best horse he's ever trained.
Yeah,
Through 7 starts in his career, Chris Beaver has trained so many really, really top quality trotters, but it's hard. This guy's been ultra impressive so far.
Yeah, and it's also Chris Beaver, the person.
Yep.
It's not him. It's not like him to come out and say this is the best horse that I've ever trained, unless he really is, eyes wide open on this guy. This to me is one of the best starts that this horse has gone yet, and he hasn't been beat. So.
And we spoke about Chris Beaver speaking about how easy he got the job done here. Plug still in, and we're going to get a chance to see just how easy he got it done in the stretch drive. This was a pretty quick second quarter for this guy, and I think that Andy probably wanted to get a chance to stretch him out. I mean, he did follow some quick panels early on in that first half, but he got an opportunity to stretch this guy out. And, maybe it was by design. It was a final, but I think he responded really well. Got a bit of a breather there, but watch this guy take off at the head of the lane, Randy, and watch the body language of the horse and the driver in this spot.
Yeah, just a really, really nice. Hey, you know something, John? I'm telling you, breeder Steve Stewart, kind of a Mohawk Million is he going to have? He's part owner of Apex, and he's the breeder of Endurance.
I believe bred a couple of winners.
Look at this guy.
Has owned a couple of winners as well, I want to say. So he's had his imprints in
Oh yeah, he's had some great horses, but boy, he's got a heck of a Mohawk Million going tonight now, doesn't he?
Yep, and so Endurance one that I think could go off as the post-time favorite here, installed as the 5-2 morning line choice. We're going to move on to the 7-horse Dublin Hanover, and this guy got the job done in the Pennsylvania Sire Stakes final, and anytime there's a big trotting event, you have to respect Team Svanstead, and they're going to be sending out the son of Captain Corey, who's well represented here in this $1 million final, and he's coming into this event sharp.
Yeah, really sharp. I threw him in for a piece of it. I haven't seen him race too much there. I watched the replay of the last one, the Pennsylvania Sire Stakes. I mean, he looked absolutely, killer good in that one. When he got loose, he was gone.
Yep.
But again, though, I got him in for 4th, but I think that, I might be being, kind of extra good to Dublin Hanover, because this is a crazy deep field.
And we're going to look at a local hopeful. We've got a couple of them in here, and we're going to look at the 8-horse Strobe Light, who got the job done in the Champlain in dominant fashion. I should say dominant fashion in a very quick time, I should say. Got the job done by a neck. I think that effort and that performance kind of gave the owners some confidence to say, let's try and find a slot, and that's exactly what they did here with this Son of Alarm Detector, a $16,000 yearling purchase. And right now he's trending as the best rookie trotter here provincially. And this is going to be a big opportunity for him to put forth a pretty good effort against what is a very deep group.
Yeah, I bet you Benoit, he's just absolutely loving the idea of, trying these horses in against, some of these other guys. Benoit's a competitive guy, you know what I mean? And he knows that he's really good at his craft. One of the best in my opinion anyway. But Strobe Light, what we're getting with him is a horse that was deep all along, but now he's become even deeper in this later part of the season. Think about it, John. He's won his last 2 starts. Up till that point, he hadn't won a race yet, but now all of a sudden he's winning and he's liking it. This could be a real nice effort for this guy.
All right, best of luck to Strobe Light there, one of our local hopefuls, as I mentioned. We're going to move on to the 9-horse Diabolic Hill, and this son of Muscle Hill is going to start from the outside in this spot, and he's got 3 wins and 6 tries, and Annie Stolby, trains this rookie, and this guy is, again, he caught a lot of attention in New Jersey racing early on. He's coming off a miscue in his most recent try, hasn't found the winner's circle in 3 consecutive races. The post is tough for Andy, but the talent and the speed is really is there for this guy, I'd say.
Is it still there, John? Is it?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Is he still because I'm going to tell you, on this July the 25th New Jersey Sire Stakes where he had the 10-hole, did you watch that race where he beats Ardon? I'm going to tell you something there. This horse looked like he could have, in the very next race, they could have put him in the Hambletonian.
Yep.
That's how good he looked. But, since then, he's had a 3rd, a 2nd, and a 5th. And the 5th, he made a break, where it looked like he was maybe going to get the job done and ends up making a break. So something to me has just kind of gone a little bit amiss, Hope he likes the Canadian weather. The nice, cool Canadian weather. Hope he likes it up here because, boy, this is a deep, deep kind of a colt, and I'd love to see him get back to that form that he was showing down on the bottom.
This guy can really sprint for a piece, though. I'll tell you one thing. If the trip scenario works out for him and he's in, the vicinity, around the final 8, good luck because he's got the gears.
He's got a rocket.
Big time.
Yeah.
So best of luck to Annie Stolby here, sending out her trotter in race at number 10. And we're going to go to the final horse in this $1 million field. We're going to go to AI. And, as we mentioned earlier, we talked about, again, we've got different Sire Stakes champions from different jurisdictions. And AI was the New York Sire Stakes winner at getting it done at Batavia. Look, this is a big step up for him as well. But this guy's been pretty sharp all season long. The post is going to be a bit tricky, though.
That's the killer, the post,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And most of his winning, let's face it, a lot of his winning has been being done on a half-mile track. Is the big track going to pick him up? And then plus he's got to deal with the 10-hole too. It's really, really unfortunate, that this is going on. But I'll tell you, John, number 1, 10 holes just a starting point. Number 2, you got Yannick Gingras driving. And number 3, Ronnie Burke's barn is on the biggest heater right now. It's impossible, seems to me, for them to lose right now. So this is going to be interesting, this colt out of the 10-hole.
We're excited about this race, as are many other people. And we've been talking about this race all week long and kind of bouncing ideas back and forth. And one of the guys we've been talking with is Chad. And I'm curious to hear Chad's thought on what is the deepest field that we've ever seen assembled in this race.
Yeah, and that it seems to be the theme, right? You guys touched on it. Marcus Melander was talking about it. Just getting all those horses from all the different jurisdictions, and all those different Sire Stakes program meeting up. And then, Melander himself, obviously a tremendous amount of success in this race. And Mohawk Million success and Steve Stewart just go hand in hand, right? As you guys touched on as well. So, and he's obviously well positioned, whether it be his charge that he owns or whether it be one that he bred, because he's got 2 really good ones. This is just, as you say, a very deep field. And this race, when it was established, some 6 years ago, I'm not sure there was all the confidence that it was one that was going to continue on. But
agree.
It's growing in popularity.
I agree.
And then when you guys get a field like this, it just helps it tremendously. So love the support we're getting for it.
And what other race do we see go for $1 million for rookie trotters, right? That's a big deal. And again, obviously to get a slot is a little bit less now, cut in half from years prior. Added incentive to go purchase a slot. And you could see everybody, once they've got to start trotter, Chad, they're working the phones. They want to see. They want to try and get a slot, obviously, and put their star trotters in here. And I think we're going to continue to see this race evolve, and I think we're going to continue to see the star power that we get a chance to see this year.
Yeah,
wheeling and dealing.
Yep.
I tried to get Waples to do some wheeling and dealing. I said let's team up, but he wasn't willing to put in the 49.5.
There you go.
I was willing to do 500, but that was about it.
Speaking of money, though, that's what's another beautiful thing about the Mohawk Million is because I know that there's some expensive babies in here, but they're not all expensive babies.
No.
You know what I mean? Anybody can go out and get one of these. Look at Strobe Light, $16,000 purchase. Endurance, a $19,000 purchase. You know what I mean? a Randy Waples could afford one of these ones, you know. I mean, you're more that the Apex 740,000, but Randy could afford some of these, and that's the beauty of it. You know what I mean? These, you know, the more easily priced, you know, yearlings, they're showing up in here as well.
Yeah, and Randy, speaking of money, to stay on that theme, you know, outside of the monetary, reward you get from winning $1 million race, because there's only a handful of them on a calendar year at various racetracks. What's it like for a driver to win $1 million race?
Oh, huge. You know, I've only win one of them. I've win a bunch, you know, like from the 6 to the 800 range, but only one, you know, the North American Cup. And I mean, it's, you know, it's a big plus.
Or we could spend all night talking about this race, Chad, because this is such a deep field. Thanks for chiming in as well. Good luck calling some of these marquee events here this evening, Chad, and we'll hear from you throughout the course of the night. We're going to move on.
It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. And we're going to move on to race number 13 here, and this is going to close out the card. No stakes event here, but we've got a golden goose from a wagering opportunity. This is going to be the mandatory jackpot high five, and you can see what's going to be paid out, what's going to be instilled in the pool already, over $218,000, and we've got a wide open field of 12 here in this spot. Morning line favorite is going to be American History, but I tell you what, those two trailers, Randy, I mean, we haven't seen maybe the level of talent from the trailing position in some of these other high five mandatory payouts have this kind of talent, because Jack Panic and Fortify are two classy guys who have a big shot if the trip scenario works out.
That's the whole thing, Trip, right? You know, I mean, American History, I threw him in for third. I mean, you know, returning to the Mackenzie Spence barn, the horse, you know, looks like he's going to start to, you know, regain that form. But I'm not 100% sure if it's not there, because I don't think that the horses that he beat last week are nearly as tough as what he's going to have to face in here tonight. So threw him in for third. Those two trailers, I'm using Jack Panic on top. And I think that this is a horse that went through some great form in the wintertime, then kind of seemed to me like he just lost a little bit of that form. I don't know why, but just seemed like he just kind of got a little bit stale, a little bit dull. But his last few starts seems to me that he's right back on that good form. Yeah. I'm going to put him up on top. And Fortify, that you brought up, I'm not 100% sure, other than, you know, the back class that American History brings. I'm not sure that Fortify isn't the deepest horse in this race. Again, a horse that maybe lost a little bit of his good form, but now Rene Barassa going to send in a nice shoeing change on this guy. They're going to take the steels off, going to go to aluminum up front on this guy. So, you know, he could be right back to that level that we're normally seeing him at.
Yep, and we're going to we have ticket ideas provided on social media. You can go on Woodbine Mohawk Park's X account there and check out our ideas. We'll talk through it throughout the night. But there's our thoughts here. What's going to be a jam-packed card, and we're going to kick things off here on the Saturday night program with the national anthem.